Good evening, everyone. Welcome once more to the All Ladies League Manufacturing Sectors, program called Law Legal Awareness for Women. So I'm extremely delighted to invite our guest, Mr. Raghunath Raghu. So Mr. Raghunath Raghu is a legal and compliance professional. He has about 20 plus years of experience as a legal and compliance head for several multinational companies, including Pfizer, Hospira, and Par Pharma. And he has also done, a course on company secretaryship, and he has held various senior level positions. And being a member of the Institute of Directors, he's also been on the board or conducting the board meetings and leading the board meeting discussions for several large enterprises. And more than anything, Raghu is a good friend. And we have served on the internal complaints committee of the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act together, and we have worked on several cases. And when we talk about, when we had this idea of doing a session on legal awareness for women, none other than Raghunath came to my mind, and here he is to have a live interaction with us. And welcome you once again, Raghu, to All Ladies League Manufacturing. So, Raghu, welcome. So, Raghu is going to be talking about several legislations that are available today for women, several which are known to people, a lot of it which are not aware to the general public. So welcome, Raghu, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajini. I think you have given a great introduction. I don't know I deserve this or not, but given this opportunity, I would like to thank you and your energy and the work the All Ladies League is doing, even during this pandemic time. And it's great to be seeing you again and connected through this. I hope all the audience all are safe and taken care of during this difficult time. I am a very optimistic, person, as you know, and I'm certain that this will go away that after every storm there is a silver lining. I'm definitely looking that or expecting it to come. Just before we start, as a corporate lawyer, just a minimum disclaimer. All these views are of my personal view, nothing to any company or any individual something directly talking about. But I would like to be transparent and fair to give the audience their view about their from this and how the issues are and how we can handle all this. So looking forward to a very interactive, insightful discussion. So yeah, so I think that's what I would say in my remark. So
right.
Yes, Dr. Rajini, I would like to know what kind of questionnaire or the discussion flow you have.
Yes, Raghu. Thank you very much once again, Raghu, and for accepting our invitation. And just to tell you, in All Ladies League Manufacturing, our focus is completely to help women in manufacturing to learn, grow, network, and also receive necessary mentorship. So, on those lines, if I have to start this discussion, I would like to start with a case study, typically a case study which I had to, professionally come across. A few weeks ago, I was trying to hire a housekeeping staff for my company. And during the conversations, I had this very typical question to the contractor. What are your tariff like? Please share the tariff with me because I need to look at the tariff before I confirm anything to you. So he gave me a tariff, and I was pretty much surprised seeing the tariff because it very clearly said for the same kind of work a man and a woman does, women get 11,500 rupees per month, and men get 12,500 rupees per month. So I was very surprised when I asked the contractor, why is this difference? And then he said, no, madam, women don't lift weight and men lift weight. And that is 1,000 rupees difference all about. I was shocked because I know of a manufacturing company where I have visited quite often, and I have seen very much in South India. I have seen women, very casually lifting power tools to the extent of 5 kilos to 7 kilos. So, what is this, weightlifting got to do all about? Is it a weightlifting competition or is it? I was not very clear. So, I thought I should start this discussion by posing this case study to you, Raghu. So, if you can give me an answer on this, be great.
Yeah, I think absolutely valid point what you said. I also, don't agree or understand why that differentiation, when we know there are enough legal protection as well as the reality that in no way women are less competent than man. And when it come to a even a work involving of physical power or capacity, it's not that something is not doable, and just because a man is more what you call can weight or can lift more weight, that doesn't mean he should be paid more for that. It's not the param. There are a lot of other factors. As we know, women are multitasking. They can do a lot of things together. They are more loyal or honest at their workplace. They are more dedicative than man. On different studies it came out. So based on that it should be. And as per the Equal Remuneration Act, which one of the area I want to touch upon here, is that it very clearly says that nobody should be discriminate, or nobody can differentiate it between a male or a female just because of their gender. The payment, whether it is a fixed compensation, whether it is a commission, whether it is a per day wage, or salary, or any form of receipt for some work, which unfortunately not followed typically in unorganized sector, like in if you go to the building construction work, if you go to the agriculture field, there are still female worker who are maybe doing similar work, or maybe sometimes doing more work, but still paid less. So that's absolutely unfair and unjust. As per law, as per Equal Remuneration Act, or as per their skills and competency, they should be paid, not just because he or just she's a female. So that's my view, and it is actually not legally correct. The female worker, whether she's in a housekeeping team, she's in any gardening squad, or in a security, or in any level of work, that differentiation, she can escalate that, and she can ask for justice.
Sure. Thank you. However, if you look at this, to just talk about this a little more, to spend one more minute on this, how does a housekeeping staff, how do we expect her to know that these laws are in place and these anti-discriminatory, legal system is very powerful in this country, or they have no understanding of that and they may not be aware of these things. So, as a team of women who is now looking at empowering these blue collar women, what do you think we can do to help these women to gain a bit of awareness on these things? Yeah,
Yeah, I think it is little too much to expect from a woman, or a worker of that standard. However, with the technology world, with the the basic practical advice I can tell is that whoever is working, even non-working woman, or the lady whose example we are taking, whether she is in any sector anywhere working, I am sure she must be having a phone in today's context, some kind of smartphone. Now with all education happening through online mode, definitely that ladies, either husband, brother, father, or his kids, somebody would have definitely have some gadget. And through that, simply if they just can Google, which is now like the source of all information. You can go to any search portal. If you put the what are the key way, is it okay, is it whatever, if the contractor is saying no, you will get paid less. You can ask the valid question by being proactive, or by taking the things. You can ask the right question, saying no, why my salary is less? Oh, because you are a female, it is less. Is it something written? Is there a law? Is it something as per any system? Because minimum wage also, if they must be referring the minimum wage, wherever they are working as a working class. They can compare that in the minimum wage sheet. There is nowhere written that for female this will be the wage and for male. One reference guide is that which every contractor has, which every worker can ask for. Otherwise, also they can easily go, as I said, to their home and check with any of the member at their home, whether that's son, daughter, sister, brother, anybody, just to check is it something like this. They can discuss with their other worker how is the practice in other company, or how is they are thinking about it. Is there something? Otherwise, basic thing is if they go and Google also, they will come to know which are the what is fact and what is not fact. Nowadays, like you go to any shop, you go for anything, nobody can easily cheat you or fool you in terms of pricing. You have a gadget and you can immediately check online, this is the price available, how can you ask more? So that's some of the practical tip I can give, considering their education level and all. Or if they rely on somebody, their own HR team, legal team, if they have access to, if they can they want to know, they can obviously read, they can go and ask them for their view. So that's through all way in this transparent digital world, I think getting information is not that difficult. So it's possible, and things are happening. It's I have seen women worker or women employees asking this, why we have to sit for more time, or why the contractor sometimes is not paying what is the amount. Can you tell us how much company is actually paying to the contractor? Because the contractor may be keeping some amount from that and may not be paying them the right fee. So I have came across this kind of example. So I think I believe it is possible, and it is in this way probably it will help them.
Okay, thank you, Raghu. And probably the HR can also play a role in, continuously educating these women, or any diversity department, DNI department would also play a role, I think. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
moving to the next point, so you and I have served on the same ICC for a long time, and from that perspective,
Yeah.
do you think POSH, the Prevention of Sexual Harassment for Women, which was instituted in 2013 in India, do you think it is overrated, Raghu? Because everywhere I see people talking only about POSH, 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 POSH. And I have a feeling that every other law is gone under the carpet. No one is able to see anything other than POSH. So, is it overrated, or are the other laws covered under this POSH? So, I need I'm sure our audience here also will be happy if you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, generally if you see in the way information flow nowadays, the way things are talked about nowadays, if you see any time now, like the Supreme Court judgments, probably lawyers no need to go back to their chamber and read or pull out those things and see. In television, if you on also, there will be some debate going on those cases, which were not before, because there was not many television channel, there was not much time or importance given what's happening at every courtroom and all. Those are at least not easily accessible to public. So in front of their television set with their coffee mug in their home at their evening time, in prime time shows, anything happen, it comes so fast to the media. And during this time, since this act came in 2013, so by that time everyone has this in the WhatsApp era, and things are so transparent. People have a gadget, and it's almost free or very easy to access things. So because of that, it's, I think, looks that over talked or over happening, which is required, I believe. Otherwise, still with so many acts in India, when it comes to implementation, things are not there because people are not aware about it. I conduct very compliance session in various company or outside. When I ask the audience, do you know which is the law for prevention of corruption in India? They just need to add one line, Prevention of Corruption Act. I ask them in this way only, but they are not able to tell the name of the act, which is there since 1988. You believe over 30 year one act is there, people are not aware. They may be aware about international law. They may now be aware about post law because it is more talked of. So, considering the importance of this law, considering that this is very sensitive and, impacting every woman's life, and the number of women employees going to office nowadays every year, goes on increasing. with that trend, with more women going to office, with the the women's forum are more active, with the digital platform available, it looks more, it is happening, which I believe is good. The more it happen, the realization will go, and across segment of people will understand it, and they will try to not to make those real cases happen. It's one way, as we talk, preventive compliance and reactive compliance. So this is the proactive compliance actually. So the more we talked about, the more we show them and more we discuss
Mhm.
about it in various forum, the awareness will be more. And then,
Mhm.
because there's a
Okay.
interpretation and things are so thin line between what is sexual harassment, what is not, the more talk and more discussion around it is required. And it is also required to open up the mindset of people, to open up the female from this kind of thing in their mind, that they should not talk about it, or they should keep it to them, or in any way. So that way I think it's happening, but it's good, and it's a phase. It will not go like this even after next 5 year or 10 year or 20 year from now. It's a period, probably 7 years now the law. So maybe few more years it will be in news, people will know, understand. Then once it become a part of life, at least in all corporates, then it will be like any normal law.
Yeah. Thank you, Raghu. That's a lot of good information there. And see, again, if we
Yeah.
don't talk about COVID, this conversation never completes, right? So one question to start with on COVID is, I've been given to understand that the domestic violence and child abuse, girl child abuse as well as a male child abuse, has literally gone up by more than 60%. Okay. Um, and I've also heard that a lot of people have been, trying to approach the police station, but it's landed up in vain. They're not able to really take the things forward. So, how do we help these people? Again, Tamil Nadu is gone on its lockdown from today for another 15 days. So, how do we help women and children to be protected during this COVID from physical and sexual abuse matters? So, as a lawyer, what is your perspective on this?
So, I agree with you, doctor. The fact is that yes, the number of domestic violence and child abuse have increased a lot during this COVID-19 pandemic. The basic, I feel pity about it. I feel it's very unfortunate that when there are, people who are continuously pleading that we need some time to be at home, we are not getting enough time to spend with family. We are always on business travel or at work. Now God has actually probably listened to everyone's voice, and they've given a time that everyone is at home. And it is through this feared, or through this kind of way it came. But it came, and finally people are at home now for over 3 months now. And we, the way it's happening, probably next few more months we will be at home like this. So the reason probably why it happened is definitely because all the people are at home now. So when the violence at, to some extent at workplace, to some extent at the commercial premises, or on the roadside, you teaching, or on the roads, accidents on the road, and things are reduced outside. Somewhere we thought it's a good, it reduced, but somewhere those all probably accumulated and started in the household thing, which is absolutely I don't understand why and how that. So one of the reason can be that yes, most of the male member, if they are kind of accused in this all this matter, they are at home, which earlier they were not used to. They used to be at least 8 hour, 10 hour, 12 hours away from home. So now with more time with them, in addition to doing, you'll be surprised to see the access to porn site has gone up drastically during this period. So that again shows that people are when they're at home, when they're not having much work, where the mind goes. So considering that, it can be, it's correlate that outside violence has reduced to some extent. Inside, watching of porn sites has gone up. People are at home most of the time. with, there are family, or particularly in some metro city, if you see a small house with one room or two room with, four, five, three members staying. So it's like, obviously little less of privacy compared to what it was before, when the, male person used to go to office. So with all that, and unfortunately with the whatever happened during pandemic, what we heard about this, the kind of sale of wine and liquor what started, and even online delivery of that. So that is probably, these are, my understanding, these are the reason why the cases are more. But it is, unfortunate, and yes, what action can be taken, that, it's all, as we believe, education starts from home. And the women are the best teachers. As Swami Vivekananda say that, like a bird cannot fly on its own one wing, similarly a society cannot run with only male. There will
Mhm.
be a element of female required. It is started from, the time the, the this whole universe, the system started, from when Lord Vishnu also, created this, for, all the society. From there only there is a male and female element started, and you can't think of now any, house without a female. Now you can't think of any organization without any female. You just think of which company can today run without a female, if they just try to, take some kind of, you know stand, or a, decision, that okay, if all these, things happening, let us, go that we will not hire any. Is it possible? Practically no. There are so many sectors which are dominantly now, taken over by female. So if you see education sector, if you see, the medical sector, if you see the corporate secretaries with students, number and member, the way it's, females are joining. If you see any, the nursing staff whole, if you see the air hostess, if you see a lot of, front offices, and there are many more, if the list we go, in all the sector they are there. But these are the sector where it's like almost they have taken over the all these positions now with, female. So the workplace you cannot eliminate, it has to be there. And home, obviously, if there is a male, there has to be a, female. That is how the world, goes. So considering all that, I think, the women, you cannot eliminate, you cannot ignore them. They have to be there. They are integral part. They are, important, element of life. They will be there. However, what option they can, take in this, that, they can discuss, they can, upfront see whatever happens. They should have the culture of speaking up, what we call, speak up. If any
Yep.
issue, the moment in the first instance, if you stop, it will not grow. As we said, no is a no. Whether it is, the movie Pink, or whether it is the prevention of sexual harassment laws, no, or generally a no. That's why no always people write in bold or in black. Then it's somebody saying a no means no. Or, what is the good touch, bad touch, what we, teach to people and all, to all the kids and all. Those all education, this is the time you can, spend with your kids and discuss with them what's happening. And you will be surprised what, information I have, or what I've gone through, that majority of this domestic violence case, or all this harassment to kids, happen by some of the family member, by some of the relatives, some of their known, circle. That's more, unfortunate. So if some kid goes and tell to her mom that, saying my uncle, or my, chacha, my, brother, my some, I try to do something, how the mother reacts generally. You will say, what nonsense you are talking. It's absolutely not possible. It cannot happen. She may shout at the girl. So where she will go? So then the fear and that, trauma, that way it goes. And they not able to speak up. If so, if the culture of speak up can be, given, what is good, what is bad, and at least there is a communication every day between the kid and the, mother, the, husband and the wife, and what's happening, who is coming, who is going, how somebody is dressing, what, they are talking to whom, which side they are watching, what with gadget and all available. I think with all this all, thing can reduce. But what you say, the fact is fact, and which is very, sad today.
Okay. Thank you, Raghu. So you're saying that it will be good for women to speak up, but I don't know how many children can realize that speaking up is a good tool. But legally, if we need to protect them, and if we can help them with certain measures, so at least we could reduce it in the forthcoming. If we are supposed to be facing another lockdown, so how can we protect these children and women from such domestic violence and abuse? So moving back to posh, so So as I repeatedly keep saying, ICC chairpersonship. I was a ICC chair for about 5 years in my previous organization, and what I learned was that's the toughest role to play when compared to any other role in the industry or in the corporate world. So, for the simple fact that I'm a strong believer of diversity and inclusion. Inclusion is the other side of the coin. So, having said that, Raghu, how can we make Posh Act help organizations to be more inclusive in nature? And also, how can see the minute we say there is a Posh Act that has been practiced in the company, men also get worried about interacting with women. They don't want to go out and have a cup of coffee with her. They don't want to shake hands with a woman. They're very scared. They're scared. So, but that is not a great, way to run a business or be part of a organization. It'll be great if men and women are feeling equally protected. And do you think Posh is serving that purpose? Because the title of that act itself says Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act for Women. Okay, and how inclusive that such these acts are in today's organizations, and how can we help organizations to get a better index of DNI, diversity and inclusivity, using the Posh Act, Raghu? Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, in a organization context, when we say it is mandatory requirement now, every company in India have to, comply this, where there are minimum, with 10 employees. So, with that, the law is pretty clear. You have to do it. Now, how you do it is always, all have their own way of, driving it. So whether it is their, anything, whether they are vehicle, whether their style of work, whether in this, compliance activity. So when, we educate along with female, we also try to, educate a male member or more to the male employees that what is, do's and don'ts of this. We can do various more training session. We can give confidence that as long as you are right, there is no way to be worried of or to be scared of anything. Yes, the law, if generally somebody read it, is definitely inclining towards women. That's my personal view in that. But it is having said that, yes, there is a requirement today that the law has to be that strict and that favoring to them, because they are the victim for so many years. So this is the time the some justice came in form of this act. So, and the society has not gone to that stage that the female will take undue advantage of this to put someone in trouble. It may happen in very rare, some point zero some kind of percentage, but I don't believe that generally somebody will tend to take this matter up and just for a personal benefit and just to take revenge against someone. Probably Indian women or society has not reached to that level or that stage. That's my view. So, having said that, the male employees, if they maintain the good relations, with female colleagues and discuss constantly what is good, what is bad, how they feel, because this is all about feeling. It's not about how what was your intention. Your intention may be good, but the feeling from the female side was not good. So that happens in many cases. So there you have to you know check with them. It is all with consent. Even the act also says that unless consented by the female. So anything with the consent of a female can be okay, but without the consent of a female, even a small act can also become a case under the sexual harassment law. So that way male employee need to read the law properly, understand it, and think of give the clear signal to the female colleague before taking any relationship forward, or before being more frank with them, or talk casually, or being friend. There is a one friend and one there is an office colleague. So most of the reality is that this thin line difference goes out, and mostly people act that together as a either they were past friend and now colleague, or they were started as a colleague and became friend. So that's fine, it is okay, but you should not cross that line. That is what the law talks about, and if you follow that and keep the harmony, then I don't think it is to be worried about. There are enough law, every law if you read, if you see the a lot of environmental law, if you see the IPC, if you see other manual where also there are a lot of threatening law. It's not that a female only will take some advantage and put you in trouble. So I think it's not about fearing, it's about clearing your things and discuss openly what is the thought process, how that particular person or group, wherever you are working or who are your colleague, how they perceive thing, and what is their level of approval, what is their level of acceptance and thought, what they feel. Okay, somebody may feel shaking hand is okay, obviously not in the corona time, but that may be natural for someone, but for someone it can be not natural. So there are instances we have seen some interesting cases also. So that
Mm-hmm.
way it's nothing that way to be really scared or worried or feared about. Otherwise you cannot work, because you cannot avoid any office. There will be some female employee, you cannot avoid them, that I will not speak to them just because this can goes this way. I'll never allow call her to my cabin, or I'll not go to her cabin or her workstation, because it can be something risky and tomorrow it can happen. Though there are few complicated cases like this where it happens, actually sometimes they are in good term, they have gone to movie, they have gone to sea beach, they have gone to malls, they have spent time, talked, have coffee, lunch, dinner, all, and then later on the relationship spoiled or something goes wrong, and then there is a post complaint came. It happened also. But then if you have all the intent evidence, even in this case you can still prove that that your intent was not that deep, and that whatever you have done, how it happened, and you can show all those. So yes, it is little obviously inclined, I would say, towards female, because the onus to prove this, that I am innocent and all, is on the victim. So that way it is okay, but any genuine person need not to be worried about, and not to meet with them, not to have tea, coffee, or spend time with them in office wherever required. It's, I think, that way.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was very powerful from your end. So, taking a short diversion from Posh. So, today we're talking about equal opportunity, we're talking about inclusivity. Uh, in our boardrooms, we talk a lot about these things, and these are some very important parameters for businesses to flourish across the world. So, from that perspective, as far as India is concerned, if a woman needs equal opportunity, then she cannot deny the concept of working during night shifts. Okay, because today many organizations are running night shifts for women, and typically the graveyard shifts, as we can call it. So they start at 9 and go up to early morning 5 or 6 o'clock. So yes, 100% of the organizations are providing transport, safety alarm, what do I say, escort, whatnot. But are all these enough to say that a female who is working in a night shift is safe, and her parents or her family back at home can have a sound sleep when she is working during the night shift? So, what are some of the legislations available to protect women who are working, especially during the night shifts? Can you help us understand those aspects, Raghu?
Yeah, I think I can give my perspective from three angles. One is the government's framework, then the company's framework, and then the individual framework.
Okay, I think as Raghu is buffering a little bit, the video has started buffering. He will come on quickly to just step in for a couple of minutes. When we were trying to implement night shifts in my past organization, we had to go through a whole lot of legal standpoint, labor law protection issues, a lot of things were happening. But when we say night shift, uh, yeah, I was just trying to fill in your space, Raghu, for a couple of minutes only. Please start.
Yeah. Am I visible and audible now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. So some network issue. So now, coming, I was saying, one is the government perspective, the protection options, and the law enactment given. Second, the company perspective,
I think there is poor network. Raghu is in Mumbai, and probably, it's the most happening with Corona and cyclone and whatnot. So, as I was talking to you, getting women on the night shift and helping them to feel protected was a extremely a $1 million question. And also, women were not coming forward. Many women, I would say, not all of them, but at least 70% of the women will hesitate before taking up these kind of positions. They wanted to understand how an organization is protecting them when they take up these things. And the second thing is typically the health things that come along with night shifts. So again, Raghu, yeah, please continue.
yeah, yeah. So, good that the labor law and the has been modified, and as per the Factories Act, now they have modified that even female can work in the night shift. At least good that you are telling female are thinking or concern of coming. It means management is allowing. So that is good. The management were also earlier of the view. If you see 20-year back, 10-year back, there are a lot of companies where they outrightly discuss that no female employee in the night shift. Who want unnecessary issue? Who want a lot of safety protection and all? Now at least they cannot tell that. So if a woman is willing to, and if the position is there, they can work. And so that's the government's law very clear that night shift women workers are still allowed. Now company what kind of policy they have, they can give them the employee the confidence. They can tell them to discuss with their parent about the good corporate behavior and practice what is happening in the company. CCTV camera is one much easier option today, and most of the company is having it. Wherever or all companies are doing it, it can be installed more at the location at pointing towards the possible to cover the entire premises. Number two, good lighting system in the night area, and making very clear that what is the access path and who are accessible with access card control, which are also not that big investment or need today. There are a lot of compliance requirement also to have all this. So if you keep that, it automatically give them the safety at the workplace and allow some more female. It's not only one or two female working in the night shift. If there are a few more, they will be more comfortable, and the group is there and they can be uh, freely work. They can form their WhatsApp group. Company can do some group among them to be in discuss with each other. If someone is missing, all let's say 10 women, they came to office. If 9 is there or 8 is there, where are the other 1 2, they can try and they can figure out. They can check about their good and bad, if anything happened to them. Then in the while transporting, the company can give better like having access control bus, or the driver with proper ID and with a safety person available with them, safeguard the interest till the last employee was dropped at his at her doorstep. Then if they can give the safety alarm kind of thing, where just by putting a particular number or by pressing one button, it can trigger to the security alarm system of the company. So these are all good practices company can brought in, and ask the female employee to discuss at home, and give them the parents and the their spouses, their family members, the confidence that they are in a safe place. And they then slowly they will start enjoying that working pattern. And company also will see there will be no restriction in terms of who is allowed when, what is to be done while night shift, how to do all that. And with more number of female worker now joining even in the manufacturing force, so I think those things are recommended. And it is, I think happening from, as I said, government side. Equal Remuneration Act one protect their amount in terms of compensation. When it comes to their safety, obviously POS Act is there, which is very comprehensive and detailed. Otherwise, also as per the all the Industrial Dispute Act, if you see the Factory Act, if you see, there is a safety officer requirement. One person has to be there as a nominated as a safety officer, whose job is to take care of the safety part of all employees, including female employees, with more uh, prominently, because if it's a night shift, then females are working. So there has to be doctors or nurses at least available, a female nurse if female workers are working in the facility, or if they have a very nearby hospital where they have taken an exemption, and there has to be some ambulance facility. Anything happen immediately, it can be attended to the hospital. With all this precaution, they are in a safe environment. I think females should be not hesitant to work.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was extremely comprehensive. You spoke about what the government is doing in terms of providing the adequate provisions to support and protect women, as well as some of the good practices that
Yeah.
you were able to highlight. That was very comprehensive. Thank you, Raghu. So again, I was very curious personally to know from you, because from a very legal standpoint, what is the situation on harassment issues, organizational harassment issues, now that we are working in various time zones? Many of us are working for multinational companies. So, what is the posh situation during Corona 19 or the COVID-19? What do you think is happening? Does the 90-day closure schedule still hold good? Are you guys taking more time or shorter time to close any cases? How are you presenting the evidence, the witness? How are you conducting the inquiry? I'm very curious to understand what is posh during COVID.
I think most apt and excellent, question on the timing. But before I elaborate, I would like, being you a female and leading this forum, as well as you are the vice president HR and handle a lot of HR issues in various organizations. What's your take? Quickly in a minute, if you tell, that will be interesting. Then I will elaborate my experience.
Sure, thank you. My take is, uh, it's going to be same or it's going to be more, is what I think, because again, there are multiple cultures, a lot of time zone differences. Uh, Again, I'm working from home, and I'm already feeling insecure about many things. I mean, a few women. I'm already feeling insecure about a lot of things that are going around me. This impacts my mental well-being and my emotional well-being to a larger extent. The corona situation, and the slightest sensitivities, during a Zoom meeting, or it could be anything, could trigger a lot of emotional outburst. Is my take on that. So if you want to challenge me on it, I'll be very happy. I want lesser cases to be coming, but I feel things should be equal, or this thing should be more during COVID, given the various things that are prevailing today upon women and men, women and men. See, I want to, I want men to feel as much good and as much comfortable as women. So I am like that equal person. But please let me know what is your take on that.
Yeah, so I think great. So what you said, no, you are still believing that yes, it is there or it is increased. So unfortunately, as the domestic violence cases are increased. This, on the pause side, there is no authentic data for me to tell that how many number of cases and all. But I can definitely say that yes, it is there. It's not nil, and there are complaints during this period also. So at least whomever I talk in my network. So when we discuss, or wherever I worked, I have seen that even at crisis time, even particularly this period, cases are coming, and there are interesting cases coming in this period. So interestingly, the obviously dimension is bit difficult, and the inquiry process has not changed legally, but you have to apply your best judgment, how you can modify, how you can tweak it, or how best you can justify that you have done justice to the investigation work. But complaint, yes, there are complaints, and the nature of complaints are most like very late hour call. The
Mhm.
boss too much demanding and was restless and asking like a lot of things at odd hours. So that's one nature of complaint coming. The second is that there are some this webex meeting or video call, so where there are instance, it happened for male also, some awkward situation where they switch on the camera and all. But even for female employee, it happened that somebody saying that at such a late hour the call came that I was in a night gown and suddenly the camera was on. I felt awkward and something, and that also she tried to explore the opportunity to file a case on this. So the point is, option is with you. Before switching on the camera, what precaution you should take is, your choice. And whether you should take the call or not is also your choice. You can politely say, I'm not well, or this is odd hour. Can we discuss tomorrow? But if in a multinational setup with the total, different time zone, if late night call, normally if it was allowed before, now also it is allowed. There is nothing, change because of the pandemic. Now thing is that before the pandemic situation, when people used to go to office, at least they used to see each other at office often. So there are a lot of discussion happen in the office which are informal. Now those are missing when you are at home. You are scheduling a call and talking. Even if the manager is giving you 2 call or 3 call in a day of 1 hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, hardly he took 2 hours of yours. Rest all, you have to manage your work. And it is definitely evidence or fact that in the whole day of from 9 to 6, it's not that you are working. Definitely you are taking a lunch at your comfort. You are doing some household based work also. You are spreading that time in such a way more comfortable to you. So that way, if you are working at night 10 or 11, you cannot make that as a complaint, or that will not be a tenable case that it was a harassment, or it was over workload and all, unless actually proven that way. So these are all the aspect how the complaints are coming, and my take on that. Coming to investigation part, interesting. Now you will be more obviously it's a difficult for the IC and all, as the format and the process says it has to be a written complaint, pen written or typed and signed and given. So that is difficult now. So either it will be a scanned copy of a signed one or a typed one by an email. So is it okay? Yes, it is okay. Then if you see number of 6 copies of the complaint, now can you give a 6 copy today in this context where the
We have
systematic will
laughed
go,
over that process quite a bit. Yeah.
whether the IC member will like to receive a copy, whether their security will allow the copy, whether the courier person can travel. So a lot of logistic issues. So definitely all these papers work are assumed to be, or presumed in a way that is right during this period if we are doing it in a online transparent mode, keeping it confidential. Of course, not printable option, not forwarding option, all those we can give in the email while circulating this kind of information. Then in the investigation process, earlier it used to be very easy when you see someone face to each other, with her body language, with the emotion, with the other aspect, you can gather a lot of information from her and the situation around her. So lot of circumstantial evidence you used to gather, you used to see a lot of body language, gestures, some things. Those things are missing. Emotions are missing when you are not seeing or talking, and that happens in the phone call or in this period of investigation. So yes, it is a bit difficult. The time taken will be little more. Obviously, it will be more time consuming because you cannot sit all across. What you all can discuss in 2 minutes sitting together, sometime take 10 minutes, half an hour in a phone call. Somebody is not audible, somebody dropped, something happened, technical issues and various other thing. Somebody not joined. You have to, all these things happen typically in a online conversation and meetings. So considering all that, this 90 days, can it be extended? Yes, it can be. It is subject to showing the proper uh, evidence and the sequence of fact that there is no deliberate delay from your end. There is nothing you left that which should have been done, you have not done. You have to follow the law with letter and spirit. So that's what come here. If you have followed really taking that that your intention was clear, you are spot on to give justice. But because of the technical issues, because of the either the case is very complex or you are not able to get all evidence, you still not believe that the case is this side or that side, you need more time. So which earlier also with subject to cases you can still go and ask extension. So that way it is possible. And as we are seeing, the future will be probably for at least some few months or maybe a year or so this way, and after that a lot of work from home culture will come. So it will be really interesting phase to see the what do you call the physical abuse, or those kind of cases may go down. But in terms of any sending some text or some kind of talk jokes or some like shouting or all these things may happen. So this is the trend, I think, my view, the way it will go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Raghu. That was a very interesting conversation around COVID and POSH. So
Yeah,
we have
yes.
another we have another 8 minutes, and I want to ask you one final question, and then probably throw this open to a few people if they would like to ask you any questions they can. So the final take is from a all ladies league perspective. All ladies league manufacturing is going to be working with a lot of blue collared women. Unlike many other organizations, we are looking at empowering the blue collared women, people who are on the shop floor, but do not have an opportunity for a learning or a networking or for a mentoring opportunity. Okay, we're going to do a lot of work. So when we talk about blue collar women, they are also exposed to. Most of them are not educated; they are semi-skilled or unskilled from that perspective. Uh, but they all come from a background which could be quite abusive, it could be quite uncertain. It may not give them that kind of comfort to come and work. Some of them may be victims of dowry system. Some of them may be victims of domestic violence, and you can go on, with the number of problems that they face. So, how do you think, as an all ladies league manufacturing team, who's going to be working with this blue collared women, how can we help them to survive these dowry issues? Because many a times, as we all know, the woman commits suicide or she's killed in the bargain. Okay. So, it is generally, the post mortem which we get to hear, and there are no proactive measures that we are able to take as an organization to support that lady or a group of women who are going through these things. So, what is your 2 cents to this team, which is trying to put some good practices together to support the blue collar women to feel protected from a dowry system or from a domestic violence at by her husband or in-laws or maybe other relatives, maybe her own parents. We'll never know, right? Her brothers. So, how do you think we can provide a protective coverage to these women? So, we also become, kind of shield for them, and we also become open for them to come and discuss their issues with us. What is your advice to all ladies league manufacturing, the team of women who are going to work with these blue collar women, Raghu?
See, I take your point, and I think the All Ladies League is definitely doing a great job in keeping all of them engaged and keeping all this kind of session what you are doing. So you can give them you just keep them engaged. You be with them and ask them anything. You can have a like open discussion forum. We have during our time at one of the organizations where we did that the coffee with the managing director, or an interactive session with the leadership team, or one outing in 3 months 6 months, where the all these people from the blue color category also are allowed to sit with the leadership team and have an open chat system. Then we also had the what do you call the this giving feedback, and a closed box which was kept, and people can give their what you even suggestions, grievance, and everything in that. So those all we can in a company setup, corporate point of view, companies can do all these things to keep them engaged, keep them motivated, and not left them alone, saying that you are different and these other employees are different. That is one. As long as they are more involved and being part of the organization, they are most important people, and they lead, because that is where the the main thing happen in organization, just the bread butter, the making part. So that way, and then to educate them constantly that you are no less, important, that, because of different qualification, because of different experience, people may be getting different money, people may be getting a different designation, and their workplace may be different than your, but that in no way, reducing or, keeping your importance out. You are one integral part of the team. That is what the message should go to them. And the
Sure.
various law, if you want to give them, you can make a kind of a capsule, note. There are companies who give a weekly manual or monthly some kind of journal you can make with their achievement and some kind of incentivization or recognition for them, giving some spot awards and some kind of recognition for them also, so that they feel attached and they feel, part of the, and they feel like company is there for them, and they are getting rewarded for the good suggestion and good work they are doing. And anytime, you can go beyond, think for some special package or special help for them, whether in case of medical help, whether, beyond ESI requirement, if you can give them good medical facility and, take, because practically if you see in a company in a year, a blue collar, employee getting involved in some major accident, number maybe, very few, 1 to 5, that for those people, if you spend few lakhs also in some good hospital, that will no way, get a, hit to your bottom line, or, something will go drastically for the company. They can easily afford it, but that will give the moral boosting of this, employee, and that will give a good message among them that company is there, and this company has done this, in addition to the ESI benefit, or in addition to any statutory benefit, whether a bonus or a one-off kind of compensation, some lump sum payment, those kind of, incentive given, and the proper education is given, and with safety measures all taken care of. I think they are the real, pillar, and company can do like various, program you can do. You can give them some kind of a pamphlet of, achievement, and what all company has done and how they are proud about them. Some kind of competition, keeping them engaged. That way, I believe, can be done. Legally speaking, there are a lot of law which can go, in their favor. You can tell them these are the list of law which, if something goes wrong, you are always having, protection, whether it is, Workmen Compensation Act, whether it is Factories Act, whether it is, a lot of other even socio-economical act, even if not in the corporate sector, that now, like, the Maternity Benefit Act, if they are not knowing, you can tell them now the people can work 26 weeks of leave, and post that also, if they need further few more weeks, they can ask for, and, if the situation per demand, then management cannot say no to them. So they can utilize that, and with more work from home now coming, obviously for, blue collar, it may not be that much relevant. They may still have to go to office, but yes, the number will definitely go down, and there will be few, in a different shift and different kind of what you call the roster way of working, and all will come. So knowing that, I think these all, if you give them proper safety measure, with gloves, with mask, with all that in this period time, and otherwise also whatever protective equipment required from the safety point of view for them, having a good medical facility, backup, hospital treatment, out of the way some support, and keeping them engaged, then I think they were definitely with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Raghu. And, we have one interesting question from our audience. How about mental abuse through social
Please.
media? How do we handle this? People who get, abused through social media.
I think due to network, I was not able to heard you correctly, Rajin. Can you
Okay,
repeat again?
I'll repeat it. How about mental abuse through social media? Women going through mental abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, pretty. I think if it is a, harassment, social media. How about mental abuse? Yeah, so this is, not a new thing. This is, a very highly increasing trend, because physically your, manager, or you are not meeting, or, you are not seeing any of your, management, whoever are, or, wherever the actual workplace is missing now. So through network only things happening. So through social media only, that is the option available. And yes, it is a fact there are a lot of cases coming from that side. So there are many avenues available. If you see the Information Technology Act of 2000, that IT Act itself says that if there is any kind of a message, something which is derogative to the women, which is against their modesty, which is they're not liked, or something is not appropriate to circulate in that social media, they can take action. They can go to local police, they can file a complaint at magistrate level also for the IT violation. Because the once you are using an IT equipment, you have to follow the IT law. So that's one way of going. The number two, they can come to company under the prevention of sexual harassment support, also asking that any kind of harassment is we know the kind of social media, if something comes, that is also a sexual harassment, it's qualified. So they
Yeah.
can also take the help of POS law. They can also go if it is more of in a very serious nature, something, they can again take help from the go for IPC. There are a lot of way they can take. They can take the case up to National Commission for Women if there is something which is of big demand in that way. So multiple options actually available. Only thing which one they are comfortable to take it and how. But this mental abuse through social media qualify as a sexual harassment. But when they say mental abuse, we need to case by case see what exactly it's referred to, whether it is falling within the definition of, which mostly will fall, because the definition is so wide that somebody is saying is a mental abuse, it will be part of that.
Sure. Thank you. And there is another case, and which we have ourselves discussed many times.
Yeah,
There's another question.
I can
Uh,
see one more question.
yes. So, one Mr. Shrikant
Yeah,
has asked
I can
whether
see
we can
one question,
reduce,
doctor.
yeah, whether we could, implement a
Yeah, yeah.
quick judgment as far as Posh is concerned, because any Posh case takes about 90 days for the hearing to be completed. So, what is your take on that?
So POS is the quicker trial. We have seen very recently, only this year only, we got the the accused got finally punishment in case of Nirbhaya case. So with that as a guiding factor, or as a very big high profile case, you can estimate if it goes to the court of justice, then typically how many days or how many years it may take. There are a lot of demand for the fast track court for this kind of matters. Government is taking a lot of initiative in that, and things are coming. As on date, if you see, POS is the most quicker resolution board, because it gives only 90 days time, and max another 90 days can be expanded if there is the case is not closed and there is a genuine reason for that. So I agree there need to be more fast track, but then everyone is demanding fast track, whether it is a merger amalgamation case, whether it is a corporate dispute, whether it is a tax dispute, whether it is a land dispute, whether it is a personal issues. Everywhere the demand is that we should have a fast track court. Now the infrastructure, the number of judges to be appointed, the facility to be set up, all that is intent of government, then lot of permutation combinations, then the uh, the way other things are, what is on priority that way. So probably because of that all backlog, that all background of this POS law, the Bhauri Devi case, how it came through the Visakha guideline and all, and finally where it reached today is in a much better, much better position. That, as doctor, you started saying that whether POS is overrated, and people are talking more and lot of things happening around it. So it's a in a way blessing for at least definitely for women and the society. So considering that, further fast track for what kind of case and when it will come, it's one of my wish list thing also, that there has to be fast track court trial, all the empty position of judges to be filled fast, and there has to be online hearing the cases. The good thing is of this pandemic again is that it has given option for the online system, whether in education, whether in official work from home. Also it has given that in the judicial system. So now court cases are happening through not face to face meeting. It's all happening even through the IT network. So that way those days are coming where we can produce our evidence also in that mode. And also the technology will upgrade to that level that the broadband the speed and the capacity, everything is built. Then we can do it. It's coming, it will definitely happen, but when and how faster it will be is something we have to wait and watch.
Okay, I think very, very good discussions, I think. And apart from the kind of, light you threw on legal perspectives, I know that you are a true blue, lawyer, and I know that you're a true blue human resources professional also in one point of view. So many of the points that you were sharing with the teams was also about some initiatives, some good practices that as an organization, as all that we could implement. So extremely useful and very comprehensive discussions from your end, Raghu, and I think I made a very wise decision of we made a wise decision of calling you for this particular program. Okay, I'm seeing one more question from one Mr. Prakash. How to motivate contractual women workforce when the organization plans to restructure due to COVID? So Prakash has asked a question about how do we motivate contractual women workforce. Okay. Yes, it is. It is going to be a challenge. Many organizations are looking at restructuring during this Corona time, and there are a number of things that have gone with the typical structures. How do we motivate them? I think
Yeah.
Raghu has spoken about a few points. Yes, over to you, Raghu.
Yeah, I got it. Doctor, what I was talking before, just prior to this question, the blue collar employee, this is actually continuation of that only. So what I say before it, almost everything goes there. In addition to that, I would only like to add that the management should not discriminate contract employee at this time along with the other employee, particularly when it is in the blue collar area, or where beyond up to a certain threshold limit of their compensation. I heard there are some companies where people have given the paid the salary to their employees on roll but not to the contract employees, or they have given lesser salary to contract employee, and many of them moved out of the city now. They are not in the town now. When the organization want to bring them back, there are either people are not available, or those who are available may not have that competency skill for their kind of requirement. So this is one fallback. If they would have taken care of their contract employee, they would not have been in this situation today. Is one, management would have also learned those who have managed this way. But the fact remains is that as long as company treat the contract employees at most at par, whatever possible, they are not on the payroll, that's fine. But if you can give them as much as benefit to them, I think that is the best way to keep them motivated, and keep a pipeline of those contract employees ready, that if they do certain number of years or certain parameters, if they qualify, they will also be absorbed in the company. That will be the other way of motivating and keeping them always engaged. So the lesser discrimination is good. You may pay a different obviously salary because they are not on roll, and their role may be seasonal. They may be doing a some different skill or unskilled work. For that you may pay them differently than your employee, if within whatever permissible things. But that doesn't mean in terms of behavior, in terms of their engagement, in terms of the canteen food, in terms of the transportation, in terms of other accessibility within workplace, if you treat them well, I think that's the best way to handle them. And this is a tough time, so particularly for those are definitely in a more tougher situation comparing to those who are in the management cadre, who has little better placed, at least financially. So that way, if you take care of them, it's what you call typical, like a friend in need is friend indeed. Or if you
Sure.
help them in a different way, if in spiritual note, if you see, God will help you in some other way if you help those people who are in needy. So That is why I believe, you have to be little, what you call, compassionate about it. You have to be, helpful, and that is what our, prime minister is, various forum, kind of proposing people and those who can afford to do it, and generally people should do, because this is, the situation is not, hidden. There is nobody is acting. It is the situation is before everyone. All know what's happening, who is, in what situation. So this is not the period to discriminate them. That's my view.
Okay, so I think we're getting more questions, Raghu. Suppose
You may.
raising the complaint to co-worker by women, in this case, how do you handle raising the complaint to co-worker by women? Uh, Purposely raising the complaint to co-worker by women. Okay, so I think Chitra
I think
Vale is talking about. She's talking about purposely blaming a man without any proper base. Is that what she's saying? Yeah.
If I read it, maybe in two way. If I read it, if she's talking about, to somebody who, for somebody, another person want to lodge a complaint for a co-worker, for her friend or for her colleague,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
she can, educate her, she can tell her, but the complaint has to come from the victim. So
Correct.
it has to be not on her behalf, unless she is, medically challenged or some, issue where is not able to write, type or do something. That is different, case. Otherwise, the complainant, the she has to come forward and file a complaint, if that is the case. And yeah, I think that's the clarity, probably yes. And if that is not the case, as you are telling, if it is a false complaint or, targeting someone, then obviously that, the action will be there against that, female employee as well, who raise a false complaint. So either any complaint, at the end, that generally people feel there will be two outcome of a complaint: either case is proved or it is not proved. But actually there are three. So one is, case is proved as correct. Second is case is not proved as, correct, or it is, proved as wrong. But there is a third element where it is proved that the case is wrong and it was a false, claim. It was a malafide, intention, and this claim was, made. So in that case, if there is a clear, evidence of that, there will be action against the female employee as well. So equally, whatever penalty would have been, to the, respondent here.
Okay. Yeah. So from whatever little I know, the equal penalty is available. The law is very, very equal in that case. The woman will be punished. The woman can be sacked or terminated, or she may also have to pay charges for that. So it is equal that way. If it's a false complaint.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
we have come to the end of the question sessions as well. So is there anything that you would like to say, Raghu, as we close this session?
Yeah, I think in addition to what we discussed in the pause part, the, I would like to say that even in, company where there is, let's say, lesser employee than, and they don't have a IC for any reason, they can still go to the LC, the local committee, where, which is the government formed committee. So there is no employees missed out, even if their company doesn't have a IC, or if their company has not entertained their complaint, they have a forum to express their view. That is the LC, the local committee.
Yeah. So the local committee has equal powers as the internal complaints committee, and the local committee is equal to a judiciary system in as far as POSH is concerned. So the ICC or the local committee has equal powers as a judge. So the chairperson of the local committee and the ICC, they both have equal powers as a judicial system. Yes, Raghu. I was just trying to fill in as the video was buffering.
Right, right. I was just about to say the C box thing. In addition to, first is company's internal committee. If company's internal committee is not there for some reason, or it is there but they are not taking your case for some reason, you can go to LC, the local committee of government formed. In various, every district they have their local committee. You can inquire that through the collector office. Then even if you are not comfortable to go there or do all that, you can lodge a online complaint also through cbox, which is available under the Ministry of Child and Women Welfare website. So through that you can easily, with the basic information, you can fill the complaint, then adequate action will be taken against the company and your case will be heard. So that's the other thing I need to I
And
thought of
also,
adding.
additionally to
And
that,
yes,
the
there are
anonymity will also be maintained, right? The anonymity of the female who's
yeah,
registering the
yeah.
lodging the complaint. Yeah,
Yes. Plus, if you want, obviously, in addition to the post matter, if you are not very happy with how the company is doing the inquiry and whether you are really getting justice, you believe or not, in that case, you can still go to police, obviously, the local police, and file a complaint against the accused. So that option always with you. You can do both things parallelly also. You can file a suit against at the company also, and you can go to police also. The benefit is that company maximum have the capacity to terminate the employment contract. Company can ask the employee to resign, or the company can terminate the employee. However, if you go to, if you want to more severe punishment, you want to see this guy behind bar, or you see there is the nature of the whatever reward from company you are not happy with, you can file a police complaint where criminal action will be taken against him, and that police will take its own way of handling that matter. So
sure.
that's how you have all these option available. Last, if I just summarize few name of the act for there, if they want to note down, or just to heard few basic act, if they keep in mind. One is Constitution of India, which is the most fundamental for all individual, including female, of course, that it gives their freedom of speech and expression, and their the whole fundamental right to say no, where to what to do, what not to do, everything. So I urge all audience, all people generally to read the constitution. It is a must for every, if you on a spiritual note, you read Gita, Bible, Quran, any book. That way, if you see, definitely this is a book, this is a, you can go for the abridged version also, the bare act also, but just spend some time, read the constitution, because all the law are the root is the constitution. From there everything start. Then the few other name to list out, the like Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. This is one act where it says that unless there is a minimum age, a boy or girl cannot be married. So that is one act. So if there is somewhere you are feeling seeing some very child, you can see that whether they are falling into this. Number two, special marriage categories act, that where it says that you can go for a court marriages if you feel. The Dowry Provision Act, it's absolutely say no to give and take of dowry. Then the Indian Divorce Act, so that gives you the liberty, that if you feel suffocated, if you feel things are not working, you have a legal right to go for divorce. Number next, it's a Maternity Benefit Act. Yes, we discussed the basic increase in the recent amendment of 2017, was that from 12 weeks, now it has gone to 26 weeks of maternity leave. And it also gives option that there has to be a crèche facility if there are 50 employees in a company, and if there is no crèche, at least in the company they should have a tie up with some nearby crèche for the benefit of women employees. Then the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, that beyond a certain period, after that the abortion is not allowed, that a female should be conscious or aware of. Then the Indecent Representation of Women Prevention, that act, it says that women cannot be represented or what we call indecently represented, whether in any publication, in advertisement, any means. So if somebody is misrepresented, projected, they can take legal action for that. Equal Remuneration Act we covered, POS Act we covered, Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act also we discussed about it, that if somebody is going through some domestic violence, they can go to local police, they can file a complaint, they can go to magistrate directly also, they can lodge a complaint for that, if it is from any kind of domestic violence, what you understand. So these all I thought I'll summarize and just list down few names which will be beneficial for the audience.
Thank you. That was very, very nice of you, because only a few laws we know by the virtue of very frequent exposures and very frequent here awareness around certain common laws. But thank you very much for sharing some of the other important legislations that are supporting women's safety, women's rights. And that was an excellent, comprehensive discussion from your end, Raghu. And a very big round of applause from all Ladies League and to several of our listeners who are on YouTube Live. And thank you, especially from all manufacturing sector. And we look forward to bringing you as a guest for another event. Maybe law, may not be law, because I know you can talk on multiple topics. So we look forward to inviting you very soon, Raghu. And thank you very much from our end and from my team members who are, backstage here. Priyanka Sriram, Sri Sirshita Sri, Preeti Daniel, and Lakshmi Shankar. We are all one team. And we've been curating a lot of programs to help women as well as men to learn, to grow, and to give the best to in whatever they do. Thank you very much, Raghu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajni, and the whole team of Ladies League. So it's a pleasure, honor, and I hope we had a good discussion. I really enjoyed, and thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all our viewers, our listeners. And I hope this program was highly beneficial to you. One request to all of you is kindly share your learnings with others as well. And we look forward to one more session very soon. Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, and take care all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.